Lost media is a mysterious topic, a window into moments that were never meant to be forgotten, yet remain shrouded in intrigue and speculation. It's a reminder of how fleeting reality can be, how quickly something broadcast to millions can slip into obscurity, leaving behind only fragments for us to piece together. But every so often, what's preserved is not mundane, but deeply unsettling, disturbing events caught live on television, where unsuspecting viewers became witnesses to the inexplicable, the bizarre, or the outright chilling, casted into homes across the world, etching themselves into the collective memory in ways that are hard to shake. They linger, haunting those who saw them firsthand, and fascinating those who uncovered them later. Tonight, we delve into the unsettling, a collection of live television broadcasts that blur the line between the ordinary and the terrifying, leaving us with more questions than answers. By the end of this video, you might find yourself questioning what's truly waiting on the other side of the screen. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare to step into the unsettling world of live television, where the familiar glow of the screen has sometimes betrayed its promise of routine. On November 22, 1987, something strange and unnerving happened that forever etched itself into the annals of broadcast history. The airwaves in Chicago were interrupted in the most bizarre and unsettling way, leaving viewers stunned, confused, and terrified. It wasn't a technical glitch, nor a prank that could be easily dismissed. It was a mysterious and unexplained hijacking of television signals that would remain unsolved, haunting the public's imagination for decades to come. It all began with the late-night broadcast of Channel 9 News, a routine program viewers had tuned into, expecting to wind down with the latest updates. But something bizarre and surreal appeared on their screens instead of the familiar anchor. A digital figure, flickering and glitching, slowly began to take form. It was Max Headroom, a synthetic TV personality who had gained fame in the 80s as a satirical, quirky host. His face a jarring mixture of human-like features, but distorted in a computer-generated artificial way. But this wasn't Max Headroom in the context of his usual satirical comedic antics. This was something different. The broadcast was hijacked by an unknown individual who, through some still mysterious method, gained control of the broadcast signal. Max Headroom's face appeared warped, glitchy, almost grotesque, his movements jerky and unnatural. His words were fragmented and nonsensical, combining garbled speech and strange, high-pitched sounds. His appearance was distorted, as if the screen itself was malfunctioning, but it was clear someone had taken control of this broadcast. The figure behind Max Headroom's face muttered random phrases before the broadcast cut back to regular programming as if nothing had happened. For the viewers who were fortunate, or unfortunate, enough to witness the hijacking live, the experience was nothing short of unnerving. The eerie distortion of Max's image, the glitching screen, the strange commentary, it was clear that something was wrong. Yet, the hijackers weren't done. The transmission continued, now targeting another show, a WGN affiliate, this time during a sports program. And then, the broadcast cut out again.
Hadn't put up a sack in 12 quarters, finally did.
The mystery of who was behind this bizarre interruption and how they pulled it off only deepened. Investigations were launched and theories swirled, but the culprits remained unknown. The broadcast hijackers had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only confusion and fear. Was it some kind of underground rebellion against the growing control of television networks? Theories ranged from disgruntled tech workers to conspiracy theorists, to even the possibility of a corporate-sponsored stunt. But no one knew for sure. And despite numerous investigations, the case was never solved. It was a moment of chaotic absurdity, yet it left an eerie mark on everyone who witnessed it. an unsettling reminder of how easily the line between reality and fiction can blur, and how the airwaves, once thought to be secure, could be hijacked at any moment by those with the right tools and the right intentions. It was a bizarre and chilling intrusion into the world of television, an inexplicable event that left more questions than answers, and a haunting piece of television history that would never be forgotten. It was just another episode of The Dating Game, the iconic 1970s television show that promised nothing more than playful banter and hopeful love stories. But on this particular night in 1978, the world was unknowingly about to witness something far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The bachelor that evening was Rodney Alcala, a 35-year-old photographer with an easy smile and a smooth, charismatic charm. He answered questions with wit, delivered his lines confidently, and seemed the perfect date candidate. To the audience at home, he appeared no different from the countless other bachelors who had graced the show. But behind his pleasant exterior, something much darker lurked. As the game played out, Cheryl Bradshaw, the young woman tasked with picking a bachelor, listened intently to each contestant, weighing their responses carefully. When it was time to make her choice, she picked Rodney Alcala, a decision that, at the moment, seemed harmless, perhaps even promising. He was charming, after all, and the audience cheered as they anticipated the blossoming romance between them. But behind the camera, Cheryl was already having second thoughts. When the show ended, she turned to her producer and confessed something strange, a feeling, an instinct that made her uncomfortable about Alcala. Something in his eyes, something in the way he spoke. It unsettled her, and for reasons she couldn't fully explain, she decided against going on a date with him. A decision that, in hindsight, may have saved her life. As it turned out, Cheryl Bradshaw wasn't the only one who sensed something was wrong. Rodney Alcala wasn't just any bachelor. He was a convicted serial killer, a man whose dark past had been concealed from the public. At the time of his appearance on The Dating Game, Alcala had already committed several heinous crimes, leaving a trail of victims in his wake. And yet, at that moment, to the viewers at home, he was simply another contestant vying for love. The show aired, and for years, no one knew the truth. But as time went on, the chilling reality of Alcala's identity slowly emerged. He had been responsible for the murders of at least 5 women, possibly more, and had been linked to countless disappearances across the United States. His appearance on The Dating Game became an eerie footnote in his twisted history, a reminder of how easily evil can hide behind a facade of charm and confidence. What's even more unsettling is the fact that the audience had watched unknowingly as one of the most notorious serial killers in American history smiled and joked his way through the show, all while hiding his true nature. Cheryl's refusal to go on a date with Alcala may have been the only thing that spared her from becoming yet another tragic victim of his murderous spree. The more you think about it, the more horrifying it becomes. A man capable of unspeakable acts was on television, appearing like any other bachelor looking for love. The cameras rolled, the audience clapped, and the world continued watching without ever knowing the true danger lurking just beneath the surface. Rodney Alcala's appearance on The Dating Game wasn't just a moment of reality TV history. It was a dark chapter that serves as a chilling reminder of how close we can come to danger, how easily a predator can blend in, and how sometimes the terrifying stories unfold in the most unexpected of places. Late one night in 1989, as Chicago's TV prepared to end its broadcast day, something deeply unsettling took over the screen. After the national anthem concluded, viewers were confronted with an eerie, black and white image, a grainy, missing person poster of a young woman named Joanna Lopez. Her face was blurred and indistinct, almost ghost-like, staring out from the television with an unsettling vacancy. Below her name was a phone number, but no voiceover accompanied the image, no police department claimed responsibility, and no explanation was given. The poster lingered in silence before the broadcast dissolved into static. At first, it might have seemed like a strange, isolated occurrence, a technical mistake, or an obscure missing person alert. But then, in 1991, the exact same image reappeared, just as grainy and just as devoid of context. No updates, no changes, only the same haunting face staring back at viewers in the dead of night. It was as if Joanna Lopez had been frozen in time, her silent plea broadcast to an audience left without answers. The mystery surrounding Joanna Lopez has only deepened in the decades since. Despite the poster's public display, no records of her exist in major missing persons databases, and the phone number listed has long since gone out of service. Even stranger, no law enforcement agency has ever come forward to acknowledge the broadcasts, leaving their origin and purpose a complete enigma. Speculation about Joanna Lopez ranges from the tragic to the sinister. Some believe it was a real but poorly executed attempt to locate a missing person that was tragically mishandled and forgotten. Others suspect a hoax, perhaps a prank, or a station error that was never corrected. But darker theories abound. Could Joanna Lopez have been a victim of foul play, her identity deliberately obscured to hide the truth? Or was the poster itself a cryptic message meant to provoke unease without revealing its true purpose? There is something profoundly disturbing about the broadcasts, not just because of the mystery, but because of the lingering silence surrounding it. The grainy image of Joanna Lopez feels like a relic from another world, a spectral presence haunting the fringes of late-night television. It's a chilling reminder of the unanswered questions that sometimes lurk in the static, waiting to be discovered. As her blurred face stares out from the archives of old recordings, one can't help but wonder, who was Joanna Lopez? And why does her story feel like it was never meant to be solved? Sometimes, the scariest mysteries aren't just the ones we can't answer. They're the ones that seem to ask questions we're afraid to even face. It was a moment of somber reflection, the entire world tuning in as Queen Elizabeth II was laid to rest. But amid the quiet reverence of the funeral broadcast, something strange and unsettling occurred. As the royal procession made its way through the streets of London and the funeral service unfolded, a whisper was caught on air. A faint voice, barely even heard to the casual viewer, but one that sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it.
Death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see,
For those watching live, it was as if time had frozen. The sudden intrusion of this strange voice caused a ripple of unease across social media. Theories swirled quickly. Was it a ghostly whisper from beyond the grave? Many listeners immediately speculated that it was the voice of Princess Diana, whose tragic death has left a lasting mark on the royal family. Diana's presence, whether physical or spiritual, has long been a part of the royal family's narrative, and many believed that her spirit might be trying to communicate during such a significant moment in history. The emotional weight of the funeral amplified this idea. After all, Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana shared a complex relationship, with Diana's death being one of the most tragic chapters in the royal family's modern history. Could this strange ghostly whisper be a message from Diana herself, reaching out during the Queen's final farewell? The possibility seemed to make sense to many who had already held on to the belief that Diana's presence still lingered in the hearts of the British public, and perhaps beyond. However, as the theories gained traction, others took a more grounded approach, offering a simpler explanation. Some suggested that the voice was not supernatural, but a technical glitch. It was likely a microphone was left on, perhaps by a grief counselor or another expert discussing the funeral, unaware that their words were still being broadcast. It's possible that the voice belonged to someone who had been speaking in the studio, their words caught on air in a moment of oversight. Some viewers pointed out that the voice resembled that of a grief counselor who had been speaking just moments before the mysterious incident occurred. Yet for those who were drawn to the more mysterious side of things, the eerie timing of the voice, just as the world watched, rapt with attention during the Queen's funeral, left them unwilling to dismiss it as mere coincidence. Could it have been a slip-up with a microphone? Or was there something more haunting at play, a message from the past whispered at the moment of the Queen's final journey? As with all mysteries, the truth may never fully come to light. Theories continue to swirl, but the chilling question remains: was this just a technical error, or was it something more? The strange voice, whether explained or unexplained, left a lingering sense of mystery in the air, much like the Queen's passing itself. For some, it was a fleeting moment of intrigue. For others, it was a sign, an echo from the past, a whisper in the wind that would not soon be forgotten. Late one night, a camera captured something seemingly impossible, something that defies explanation. What was meant to be lifeless wasn't. What happened next would spark debates, send chills down spines, and blur the line between reality and the unknown. This is the story of a ventriloquist doll who goes by the name of Mr. Fritz. Mr. Fritz was a doll dating back to the World War II era. According to the video, it was used to entertain the Allied powers between 1943 and 1945. It is currently placed in the Freak Room of Michael Diamond's private collection. Diamond received the doll from a military memorabilia collector and placed it in a glass display case. The video starts with the door of the same glass display case swinging open. Later on in the video, something happens that leaves the viewers and everyone on the internet completely terrified. The doll appears to move its mouth and blink before going back to its original self. It left people terrified and made them have so many unanswered questions. Many such people have come forward to give their theories. One such comment under that video says, "I'm a ventriloquist. I've shown this to my other ventriloquist friends. We all agree that this footage is nearly impossible to fake." Working the controls on a headstick like his would be impossible to control with a fishing line. On top of that, motors, or any serious modifications that would make this possible, would have destroyed the head in the process, given how fragile it is. While skeptics and believers continue to debate its authenticity, one fact is undeniable: the doll's eerie presence and unnerving gaze make it deeply unsettling. Its soulless, glassy eyes seem to pierce through the void, staring into nothing, yet feeling as if they're fixed on you. The fragile, cracked features hold an unsettling stillness that lingers long after you look away, leaving behind a question that seems destined to remain unanswered. What truly lies behind that lifeless face? An illusion or something far more sinister? Perhaps we'll never know. The morning of January 28th, 1986, started with an air of excitement and anticipation. Millions of eyes were fixed on the television, waiting to witness a moment of history. The Space Shuttle Challenger was set to launch from Cape Canaveral, and for many, it felt like a step toward the future. Among the crew was Krista McAuliffe, a teacher selected to be the first civilian in space. Schools across the nation had tuned in, eager to watch the teacher's journey into space, their classrooms filled with young minds hoping to be inspired. As the countdown reached 0, the shuttle rose into the sky, its engines roaring as it ascended into the crisp blue of the morning. For a brief moment, everything seemed perfect. The dream of space exploration seemed so close, so tangible. But then, just 73 seconds after liftoff, the unthinkable happened. The shuttle suddenly erupted in a fiery explosion, a burst of smoke and debris tearing through the sky. The world watched, stunned, as the Challenger disintegrated in midair. its crew of 7, heroes in their own right, lost in an instant. On that day, the faces of the astronauts, men and women who had trained their entire lives for that moment, became more than just names. They became symbols of the risks we take in the pursuit of exploration. The Challenger disaster was broadcast live, a traumatic event unfolding on screen for the world to witness. The impact was immediate. It was more than a tragedy for NASA. It was a moment of collective loss felt across classrooms, homes, and boardrooms. The promise of space exploration suddenly felt fragile and distant. In the aftermath, the nation struggled to understand what had gone wrong. Investigations revealed that the explosion was caused by a failure in one of the shuttle's O-rings, which had been compromised by the unusually cold temperatures on the day of the launch. The failure led to the catastrophic leak of hot gases, ultimately causing the shuttle to disintegrate. The Challenger tragedy forever altered the course of space exploration. The Space Shuttle program was temporarily grounded, and NASA was forced to reconsider its approach to safety and mission planning. The loss of the Challenger crew reshaped public perception of space travel, highlighting the inherent dangers of venturing beyond our planet. But for those who witnessed it, the disaster remains a haunting reminder of the price of ambition and the fragility of human life in the face of the unknown. The Challenger disaster, though painful, is part of a greater narrative, a reminder of how far we have come and the costs of progress. Every space launch since that day carries with it the weight of their sacrifice, and in the quiet moments, we remember them. The 7 astronauts who gave their lives in the name of exploration.